Alrighty guys, welcome to another awesome Blender tutorial. We are in the Mastering Material series. Yes, I'm actually doing series because everyone does it, so I'm doing it as well. Pretty cool, eh? Haha. Okay, cool. So today I've got basically what we're looking at is nodes and basic node types as well. Alright, so I'm just gonna quickly, first, just before we get started, so I just want to say that I do have two other videos before this one. This is the third in the series. So you want to check the other two. I discussed this setup over here, and as well as I spoke about lighting in the previous one, which was pretty awesome. And today we're going to be talking about node types. These guys, these little dudes over here. All right, so let's kick it up. Let's get starting. Thank you for the music. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to render view. All right, there you go, boom. And then what we're basically going to do is we're going to kick off by adding some sort of map. So let me just delete this quickly and delete this because then it defeats my whole point. Okay, cool. So basic node types and just understanding nodes and understanding basically how a good node structure. All right, and so the first thing that I want to go through is this, all right, and I'm going to add in a texture coordinate, right? So I'm going to start off with my input, right? Because we're going to be adding some kind of map, okay? And in our next tutorial, we're going to be doing materials, and after that, we're going to be getting into maps, all right? But for now, let's just add in our texture coordinate, all right? And what we see here are the different types of maps that you can apply. You can see here there are 7 different ways to place my map. Like I said, we will get into this a little bit later. Now, what I'm going to do is to my object that's over here, I'm going to add a texture and I'm going to add a color, right? So the first thing I'm going to add here is I'm going to add a texture, all right? And under my texture, so what I'm pressing is Shift A here in this node editor over here. So Shift A, I'm going to go to textures and I'm going to go to magic texture, right? And the first thing that I'd like to point out here is that basically you got different inputs and outputs here. So what we see here in our texture coordinate is purple outputs, and you can see in a magic texture we've got a purple input. All right, and purple inputs or outputs basically mean it's a vector, input and output. And what that means is that I've got information about my object. I'm working with information in basically all directions. All right. And so what I'm going to plug here is our map generated, and I'm going to plug the generated into the vector. Pretty cool. Okay. The next thing that we need to add in is a shader. Now, the thing about shaders is shaders can be anything from an emission of light, okay, in other words, light that's shining. We can do, let's see here, we can do glass, yes. It can even be hair, all right, hair. Hair also has a, where is my hair texture? My goodness, glassy, hold that, mixer, principle, specular. Okay, hair also has its own shader as well, all right? Believe it or not, it does, all right? The way that it's placed in there, all right? But we're going to be using the most common shader, and it's this one, the Principle BSDF. I have dealt with this guy. This is an awesome node, right? Really love it, really cool. And what we see here is another input color, and that is our yellow one. Now yellow, and a yellow input or output represents it color, basically base color. So I'm going to be plugging this color into the base color, right? Okay, so into the base color. Now the next thing that we need is, so we've got our input, all right, which is our map, the way that our textual color is placed on our object, all right. We've even got our own texture, and we've got our color, or yes, basically our color. All right, but now what we need is an output, and your output is what is basically going to show on here. All right, so let's go Shift A. We're going to go output, and we're going to go material output, and you'll see even material output has different inputs over here. You can do surface, or you can do a volume, which is the whole of the entire, or you can do displacement, which we will be getting into. So I'm going to plug this BSDF into my surface. Alright, and now what you see here is that we have a material, and this material has a pattern, alright, which is this magic texture over here, as well as it has a color, alright, and that's basically whatever I've programmed here into my principal shader, right? That's what it's going to give me. And so there we've used some general, just something very basic, very general. All right, this tutorial is very short, but it's just basically to show you how you need an input, how you can place a texture, your different inputs and outputs, again color, and how you can add in a color. All right, and then how you need a material output and how that applies to your object. All right, so guys, our next tutorial is going to get pretty exciting. I think I said this on the second one, or the first one. I said we're going to have quick short tutorials here just to cover the basics of it, but you'll see as time goes by, as we go on, our tutorials are going to get much lengthier, much longer, a lot more in detail. The next one we're going to be doing is creating materials, all right, and I know that one alone is going to it's a bit more lengthy than that, but anyway guys, there you go, very quick one for you. Until next week, see you then, or until the next video, because yeah, maybe you're watching this video when I release the next one, so go on to the next one. See you guys then. Cheerio.